Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. We're back, sort of, after a week off. I have a unexpected day off. Well, I should say not a day off. We're working remotely today at HCC because of the city of Houston's boil water thing they got going on. So either way, we're still working today. We're just working out of home. So we know how to get this routine done. I want to thank all of you for joining us this morning. But first off, I want to welcome my co-host this morning, Montrose Cunningham, the Community Outreach Coordinator at HCC's Northwest College. Montrose, good to see you. You get to stay home today and work.
Yes, I do. That's one of the advantages of working from home and one of the disadvantages of working from home.
Yeah, well, we got this down, this working from home thing. I think over the last, 2.5 years, we kind of got it down. We're good to go with it. So when things went in place this morning, we just kind of slipped back into the old routine, huh?
Yeah, it was no big deal.
Not a big deal.
I got to ask you before we get started, did you run today or did you do the turkey trot?
No, I didn't. The past couple of weeks, I've been kind of taking it easy. I've been cutting back on my running a little bit because I realized I was running way too much and I may want to walk when I'm 70 years old one day. So I figured, might want to just dial it back on the mileage. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I still run, just not like crazy distances. But it is beautiful weather out there. It's been nice and chilly for the past week or so.
Definitely.
All right, Montrose. So we want to thank everybody for watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. You can find us every morning, just about every morning at 10 a.m. when HCC is in session. But they can also catch us on HCCTV and in social media as well.
Yes, that's right. You got us live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page, not HCC, Houston Community College District, and YouTube. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can go old school on HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
That's right. Going old school. And we're going to go old school in a few minutes. But first, I want to introduce the guest that you're going to be interviewing in just a few moments. Lisa Sanger Blinn is the Project Outcomes Lead, Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities. And she's our Mental Health Monday guest. Lisa, good to have you with us. Thanks for being here. Let's see, I think your mic is muted.
It is. I'm sorry. And you'd think after all this time, I'd know better.
We're still getting it down. I understand. Well, Lisa, we're looking forward to hearing from you shortly. Montrose is going to be with you in about 10 minutes. So stick around. We'll be with you shortly.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to kick things off with a group that's been around for quite some time now. The Mydolls, punk pioneers. They're still performing after 40 years together. Ladies and a guy joining me this morning. Linda Younger, guitar and vocals. Trish Herrera, also guitarist and vocals. And George Reyes, drummer for all members of the Mydolls and our Music Monday guests. Welcome to the show. Thank y'all for being here.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so first I'll throw it out there for people who may have heard your name before or wondering, hey, I've heard of the Mydolls. Tell us a bit about yourselves. Who wants to take that question?
I will.
All right, okay. Trish.
So Mydolls started in 1978, and it started off with Linda and Diana and I decided that we were going to start a band because we were seeing bands at the island, and we thought, okay, well, we can do this. I mean, it's great. It's noisy. We love it. So we decided to do it. And then my cousin, George, who's also here, became our drummer because we tried out a lot of women drummers, but at that time there weren't any women drummers that had the power that we needed. So George became our drummer. And also our band, we came up with this name because we were discussing Heart, which was another, female dominated band at that time, a roll band. And we were like, what should we call ourselves? Like ovaries, kidneys? I mean, what should we call ourselves? And someone, actually Linda's husband, Kelly, said, Mydolls, small m, no the, just Mydolls.
Mydolls.
Nobody ever gets that. And we don't really care at this point. I mean, it's like, 50 something years or whatever down the line, we don't care anymore. But it is.
I mean, when you start a band like this, I mean, obviously you're more than 40 years into this. Did you ever imagine in your mind that, 40 years down the road, we're going to still be doing this?
We didn't. I mean, I don't think anyone thought ahead at that time. We were so in the moment. It was amazing. Like that time was incredible. It really was. So yeah.
George, I want to bring you into the conversation. You guys have a connection. Was it a connection to HCC and how that plays into your non-traditional careers? Maybe you could tell me about that. But
Unmute George. Drummers.
Okay. Oh,
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we're going to show the feelings, man.
So I was working for HCC, and there was a grant, which, strangely enough, it sounds ancient when you talk about it, given today, that it was a grant to pair people with non-traditional careers. And one of my colleagues was hosting an event for young ladies that were in high school, and they came to the central campus, and they wanted Mydolls to play to demonstrate non-traditional careers. So that's the story on that.
So there is an HCC connection. I want to ask y'all too about Mydolls then and Mydolls now. When you look at bands that have had longevity, you think of the Rolling Stones, even when the Grateful Dead was around, they would kind of change their styles to match the music of the day. I mean, everybody lambasted the Stones for going disco, and also for I think even the Grateful Dead put out a disco song at one time or another. During that time, do you find yourselves being influenced by the music of the day, having longevity, and does that incorporate into writing new songs?
I think the layering of what's going on in the studio is definitely inspiring and influencing the way I think about writing now. Mainly, it just comes as words and some kind of beat, and I'll tell George, like, listen, can you do this sort of thing? And like he just speaks, we speak Mydolls. So the way that we've always written has been very intuitive. And I mean, our skills as musicians are, I took classical piano and guitar when I was a kid, but I mean, I didn't continue on as a classical guitarist. And so I wanted Linda's husband, Kelly, who was in a band called Really Red, had the best, coolest, noisiest guitar playing ever. And I was like, Kelly, how do I play guitar? And he's like, how do I play punk guitar? And he goes, you know how to play guitar, just turn everything up. And so basically that's how we write, Todd. It's like there's no real science to anything that we do or any thought. It's very intuitive.
Linda, what's the difference between Mydolls? Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to add, we've been like together since 1978. So we're going on, 45 years? The songs we wrote in 1978 have staying power. And I think if you have something that works, you might embellish it a little, you might remix it, you might remaster it, but you're not going to mess with it. If the lyrics are still appropriate and meaningful, which I feel like ours are, we might change the nouns in some of the songs to make it more current. So, but I think the message we sent out back then is still the same. And we've been using, they've remixed Savage Song is one of our songs that really was on a CD, a cassette called Cottage Sheets or The Dog That Wouldn't Die. And they remixed that, and it really, they've enhanced the sound, but it's the same song and the same message. And I think that's, we've got staying power for that reason, in my opinion.
How do you market your music now? Do you find it easier with the advent of music being released online, or does that make it harder as artists to make any money off of it or to market your music?
We've got a lot, let's just put it out there. If you guys want any of our music, go to Bandcamp. We still have lots of records to sell. It's been hard, with COVID, not being able to play live. I do think that we're now CIA is doing, the label is putting out, new records we played on. Really Red's Teaching You to Fear again with a lot of other bands who performed their original album, and it's excellent. It's really new music, but the old songs to new band with new bands performing them, and we're just like we're just getting back together. We haven't been playing since before COVID. We've had life got in the way, and so we're just starting to practice again. So we're excited about being able to play live. We really enjoy that.
Trish, during the time of COVID, I know we were all sequestered at time for quite some time. Was that hard getting the connection back when you started playing together again after you had a long extended period off from seeing each other in person?
I think it's so, after playing some of the same songs for so long, we just pick them up just, as long as we have time and to get together. Usually it's Linda, Diana, and me because George lives in Austin. So when he can come in, we have to be prepared, like with what we've remembered. And we wrote a new song called Easter, and that just came out right before COVID started. And we worked on another one called, I don't remember what it was called, but it was about COVID, and it never came to light. We had a lot of things happen. Linda's husband, Kelly, passed away. We just focused on how our wellness as well. We didn't force ourselves to do anything that we weren't ready to do at the time, but we are now. We're ready to play. So we're getting there.
Okay. Well, you're ready to play now. Where can people see you live, and where can they find you in social media? I know we're going to put some links in our social media post after the show, but give us an idea of where they can listen to you and see you live.
Well, the Orange Show has asked us to play. We have to organize everything. It'll probably be spring before we get everything organized. But we've got a lot of possibilities of places to play. It's just I'd like to do it there because that place has a real warm spot in our hearts.
Right.
And, but that's what we're focusing on, a show at the Orange Show. Be great.
The spring at the Orange Show, in the spring rather, with Mydolls. Linda, Trish, George, I want to thank you for being here this morning. We appreciate you joining us. And as I mentioned, we're going to have some information in our social media post and how people can find y'all in social media and on Bandcamp.
Thank you.
Our parting message for everyone is go make a band. That's how we always end all of our conversations with people, and so it's just go make a band.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all for being here, and congratulations on your continued success. 45 plus years. Not many bands can say that. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
All right, y'all take care.
Okay.
We're going to turn things over to Montrose now, and Montrose, you've got a special guest for our Mental Health Monday. I'll let you take it away.
All right. Yes, I have Lisa Sanger-Blinn of Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities. And yes, she's our Mental Health Monday guest. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Good morning, Montrose. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, we're working to reduce the stigma of mental health and mental health care. But your organization is taking another approach with your community initiatives. Tell us about the Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities initiative.
So Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities is coming out of the Harris Center, which, as you know, is the largest behavioral health provider in Harris County. Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities is different from what you would normally expect from the Harris Center, which is you think of us traditionally for our clinic services, for our IDD services. But Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities is centered in communities across Harris County that were disproportionately impacted by COVID. had higher numbers of deaths, higher numbers of loss of jobs and apartments, and less access to behavioral health care resources. We know Harris County is vast, right? And sometimes it's not easy to get to a person to talk to when you're maybe not feeling yourself. Maybe you're feeling depressed, maybe you're feeling anxious, and you just wonder if there's somebody else in your community you can talk to. And part of what Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities is doing is equipping communities to people in communities to feel really comfortable making that first step when they notice that a neighbor or a friend doesn't seem quite right, and having those conversations.
Okay, good. Yeah. So now, what is the America Rescue Plan?
So the American Rescue Plan, probably all of your viewers have heard about COVID money. And you'll remember back when we were in the midst of COVID, there was a phase one amount of money that the county received from the federal government to help people pay their rent, to buy food when they were out of work. In phase two of the ARPA money, we are doing a lot of structural things across the county. And behavioral health care is one of those things. The county has put money into roads and parks and policing and all kinds of things from that ARPA money. But one of the thing that we're working on is reducing stigma across the communities that we serve here in Harris County.
And with Harris County being, as you mentioned, such a diverse community, I know that there's recently I just heard about a study that focused on, communities of color and how there's such a stigma within certain communities of actually going to seek health care, mental health care.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really good. Now,
and that's where these communities, so the communities that were the first 10 communities we're working in are traditional communities of color, right? Mm-hmm. So 3 of them are historically Black communities. Mm-hmm. 6 of them now have primarily Spanish-speaking citizens in those zip codes that we're in. Mm-hmm. And the difference in the way in which people think about behavioral health is influenced very much by cultural norms. It's also influenced by previous experience with the system itself, right? So if you want to talk about the way that you're feeling, you want to talk to somebody who understands your experience. And that might not be somebody who looks like me. That might be somebody who looks like you, Montrose, or who looks like our friends that were on earlier. You want somebody that you feel has the same lived experience or a similar one and can speak not only your cultural language, but your actual language as well. So it's important that we be able to have providers in all the many languages that are offered here in Houston, particularly in Spanish and Vietnamese and Chinese.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, the money with the America Rescue Plan that you were talking about earlier, will that go towards what's called community initiated care? And if so,
yes. So, the Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities plan is actually a pilot for community-initiated care that may be utilized across the country afterwards. The idea here is that community-initiated care begins at the community level. So this money came from ARPA, and in that way, it didn't go straight into the community. But the first phase of our project has been to get out into these 10 communities, to have large community learning circles and find out what people think that they really need in their community, rather than having behavioral health providers who are experts tell them what they need. And I think most of the communities that we're working in are very familiar with having folks come to town and tell them what they need, and not listen particularly well to what the community members believe they need. We went in thinking that we were going to hear several things, and we actually found a much higher percentage of people telling us that they really felt like we should prioritize grief and loss support groups in multiple languages in these communities, and also training for parents to understand what is normal and what is abnormal behavior in young children, especially in light of them having been out of school for 2 years during COVID. And so the things that we're doing now are directly related, and they don't look the same in each community. In each community, it's dependent upon what the community designs and what the community is already doing.
Yeah, and that leads me right into what I was going to ask you about was different types of training and support groups and the importance of learning, listening, and sharing.
We want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable in the space that they're in to learn new techniques, to listen to the experiences of their neighbors, and to feel comfortable sharing with what their neighbors have been through. And so we're reaching out to pastors, to rabbis, to priests across all of these 10 communities and across Harris County, because most people feel pretty comfortable in a place of worship. The other places we're using are community centers. Harris County is really lucky that in most of our neighborhoods, we have really excellent community centers. COVID kept people away from those community centers, made them afraid to go to them. And so now we're trying to help folks get back into the community centers as well, and schools. We're reaching out to schools to meet with social influencers that are identified at schools, because we all know that the kids are using social media. And if we want to reach them, we can't expect to do it in the old-fashioned way.
Exactly. And that's a good point, because, I was going to ask you about COVID and the impact that had, as well as other things like weather disasters, or even during the pandemic, with the George Floyd and some of the things that were going on, how that affected mental health at the community level.
It's interesting. It's an interesting question, Montrose, because many people want, many of the articles that viewers will have read about mental health as an impact of COVID, it isn't just about COVID, right? COVID kept us home, it kept us apart, it kept us isolated, it kept us away from doing the sort of traditional things, and we missed out on many things. We lost people, we lost our ability to celebrate together and to mourn together. But more importantly, in Houston, we haven't just been dealing with stress for the last 2 years. If you think about the last 7 years, we have had 6 federally declared disasters in the last 7 years. Not just flooding, but the freeze, which hit many people hard. And then you think about George Floyd and the longstanding history of systemic racism across not only our country, but our county. And so that impact, that repeated generational trauma is difficult for everyone. And so if you're still living in a home that has a blue tarp from back during Harvey, that's weighing on you. That's weighing on your kids. Right. And it's easy for us sometimes to forget that our neighbors are dealing with a lot more maybe than we ourselves are.
Yeah. Well, this has been really good information, and thank you so much. Again, Lisa Sanger-Blinn of Healthy Minds, Healthy Communities, and our Mental Health Monday guest, and we'll have your information in the post after the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We really appreciate you having us.
All right. Thank you both. Great information. Okay, we're going to move on to some announcements we have for today. Of course, we mentioned the fact that we're all working remotely today. You probably know that by now. Our campuses are closed. Classes are still going on remotely. And if you work for HCC, you can work at home remotely today because of the boil water ban for the city of Houston. So keep that in mind. Today's also the deadline for Reading Culture Scholarship applications. HCC's Reading Culture Scholarship essay competition on the book, The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina, ends today. Students can win one of 3 scholarships. The grand prize is $1,000, outstanding essay $500, and outstanding project is $500 as well. The projects are due today by the end of the day, Monday, November the 28th. Check our post after the show in a link for more details. Okay, there's also something happening at the Southwest College's Stafford campus as well, Montrose.
That's right. Yes. So we've got the student honors recital, keeping in line with Music Monday. Select HCC Southwest students recommended by private voice and instrumental instructors will be showcased in music performances. That's tomorrow, 7:30, November 29th, at the Stafford Arts Center. Registration is not necessary, but we'll have information and info email in our post.
And Montrose, you guys have something going on at the A-Leaf Hayes campus, a winter showcase and open mic night. The HCC Creative Writing Club will feature its members reading their own creative work But attendees are also welcome to share their own creative pieces during an open mic opportunity. That's happening 3:30 p.m. Also tomorrow, Tuesday, November the 29th, it's going to be at HCC's Northwest College, the A-Leaf Hayes campus. We'll have some information in our post after the show with more details. And there's a student exhibition at the Northeast College too.
That's right. Northeast Student Exhibition with awards and reception. The in-person exhibition features the work of Northline art students. Also, juried awards will be given in drawing, painting, design, and digital media. That's going on through December 5th, and it's free at HCC Northeast, the Northline Gallery. The reception and awards will be this Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. And again, everyone's welcome. No registration is required.
All right, I want to skip down to our final announcement, which involves spring registration, because believe it or not, we're already registering for spring 2023. Can you believe that? I know, it's hard to believe. 2023. Yeah, I don't know if I like the sound of that. 2022 scared the heck out of me. It hadn't been a good year. So I'm just like, okay, it's got to be better next year. Got to be better. So spring 2023 registration is ongoing. HCC offers multiple spring sessions as well as a winter mini session. The spring course schedule has in-person and online courses with start dates from December 2022 to April of 2023. 5 ways to learn. 2 of them are online. 2 of them are in a hybrid. And then we have the in-person classes are available as well. Go to register today, hccs.edu/apply. So tomorrow's Tasty Tuesday, we'll have a chef from the HCC District Neighbor Weights and Measures. They're going to be visiting us tomorrow. And also we got a student success story coming up as well, Montrose.
Yes, another student success story presented to the Board of Trustees. This one is from the Automotive Technology Program.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story. So check that out. All that later this week. Tomorrow's Tasty Tuesday. Hey, Montrose, thanks for being here on Music Monday and Mental Health Monday. You got both of them at one time.
I know. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Montrose. And thanks to all of you. Enjoy your day of working remotely today. We'll be back in the office tomorrow and back with Up to the Minute live 10 a.m. right here. See you then.